Oh, hey everybody, how are we today? Just getting ready to start another project, and which brings me to my story for today. This story, I need to back up just a little bit, give a little bit of background, and if I think, okay, I better put this down before I sit there and won't be looking at you while I'm making sure I get my stitches in right. Gotta do that, right? So let me put this down. It's gonna be a hat, but maybe I'll show it to you tomorrow if I get it finished, or the next day, and that'll be another short video for you. Anyway, I've known how to crochet for a long time, like I told you before, since I was 13. Well, back January 5th of 1991, my youngest brother died, remember? I'm not trying to get sad or do anything like that. And but his passing has something to do with it. And anyway, when he passed, my childhood friend Randy came. His father was the pastor of a local church, and he said, what do I do for Kathy? What do I do for her? And his mother said, she will let you know what you need to do for her. And of course, my brother Chad was the first sibling to ever pass away, and I didn't know what to do. To be honest with you, I was numb, and I was shocked, and I was more worried about my mom and my dad, because they were just the crying and the sobbing but the whole details of his funeral will be in my book someday. And anyway, I got to the funeral, and I was numb, and I was looking at my mom and my dad and I wanted to hold them both. I had one on one side of me, one on the other side of me, and my brother Scott was with my mom, and my dad was kind of on my right side, and then my stepmom, was in between us, I think, or on the other side of my dad. Just, she was holding him and stuff, and just, it's hard. But all of a sudden, my childhood friend Randy, he came in, and he sat with me, and I'm just, you get Kleenexes, and you're bawling, and you're crying, and all these things are just, he had a suit pocket, and he kept putting them in, and I mean, he was stuffing them here in this pocket and every which way, just stuffing them there. And of course, the funeral progressed. And it wasn't until I walked out and saw 4 buses from the high school that my brother went to had came to pay their respects. I knew it was crowded, but I didn't realize how many young people came to his funeral. And I can't remember if before the funeral or after the funeral. Rainey and I, we've known each other since '87, so our high school days / academy days. But I remember Randy's a gymnast. He still teaches gymnastics even at our age. He's a month younger than me, but shh, don't tell him I said that. So anyway, he would jump off the bill. I mean, he would do all kinds of gymnastic stunts. And he would go off to do something for somebody, or, teach Ericanas or something, or a gymnastic show, or do something, And I said, well, you're going? And he said, yeah. He said, I said, are you getting a hotel? He goes, no. I sleep in my car. Sometimes it gets a little cold at night. And I thought, the little light bulb went off. After he had done that for me, I wanted to do something special for him. So I said, I know what I'll do. I'll make him a blanket. So I had gone and picked out, and I call the stitch, I'm playing with my yarn again as an example to show you. I call the stitch my Uncle George stitch. It's where I take 3 strands of yarn like this and work them all as one. So I had 3 balls of yarn going at once. And so I thought, that's what I'll do for him. And I started it, and I asked my stepmom, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? How to, different stitches and stuff like this, and because his blanket that was the first blanket I'd ever made, and I didn't know how long to make it, how short to make it, how, I just kind of went off, and she said, oh, chain so long, and, blah, 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 and I wanted it to be in the back of his car, so he could lay down in the back seat of the car and cover up. And so I went there. Well, my dad called and said, Kat, I want you to come down for Christmas, or come back. I want you to come home for Christmas. And I'm like, oh, okay. Alrighty. I can do that. And so I went over to my dad's for Christmas, and it was Christmas Day. You know, it was a hollow, sad, but yet we were kind of just basically telling our to the kids Uncle Fudd stories, you know, our childhood memories with my little brother and stuff. And so it wasn't a bad time, but you know, you knew that he was missing, you know. And so we went, you know, and was telling stories and stuff. And my brother Scott came in, and he said, "Lips, you got a flat tire." And I went, "What?" "Oh no!" At that time, I had a Pontiac T1000, a little car. And I went, "Oh." And he goes, "Don't worry about it. I put the donut on for you." He said, "It's your spare tire." He said, "I need you to go to Edmore, you know, about 25 miles away from my dad's. You know, maybe 30. I need you to go back over there, go to Discount Tire, and they will put a tire on for you for $20. They'll get you a used tire. You can get a used tire for $20. I'm like, okay. And he goes, "Don't go any farther than 25 miles on that donut, or you're going to be going off the road and having a really bad accident. You have to get that donut changed." So I'm like, okay. So I rode over to Edmore, and I asked my Aunt Helen, I said, "Can I spend the night with you?" Because obviously nobody's open on Christmas Day. No tire shops are open on Christmas Day. So she's like, "Yeah, sure. And so I spent the night with her and enjoyed my Christmas night with her and everything, and got up on the 26th. And as we were leaving, you know, she fed me breakfast. And, you know, as I left to get in the car, because my son was with his dad at the time. And because it was his time to have him for the holiday, you know. And so I said, "Aunt Helen," I said, "please pray for me." I said, "Pray for me that I don't go over $20. And so I don't go anywhere over, you know, the $20, because that's all I had." So I get to the tire place, and of course I bring in my crochet. My husband's getting in the car, and or attempting to, so he's going to join the video. He'll listen to it anyway. So anyway, I said, "Pray for me that it doesn't go over $20, Aunt Helen." She said, "Yep." So we had prayer. I got to Discount Tire, and I had a little basket that had holes in it to keep my yarn separated. Even before they make those fancy little doodads now, you know, where you can keep your yarn separated as you're crocheting and stuff. I just had a little beach carrier. So I go in and I sit down, and I gave him the key. You know, I gave him the key, and I go and I sit down, and I'm crocheting away, you know, and I look up, and here's this young girl. She's about 12 years old, right across from me, and she had this kind of hook, but she had not the hook. She had this kind of yarn, but she had the really thin little metal hook, really teeny tiny for doilies and stuff. And so I said, "What you making?" She goes, "Oh, I don't know. I'm just making a chain. That's all I know how to do." And I said, "Oh," and I bent down into the thing, and I snipped off because I had, mind you, I had three different colors of yarn, balls of yarn. So I snipped off one, and I said, "Here, use this one, and then I said, "You got the wrong hook for the blank, you know, for the yarn you're using." So I gave her the hook that I was using, and I said, "Here, you know," and so I pulled out another one, and I said, "Here, this is how we do a chain." And, you know, so I started talking to her, telling her how to do a chain, and I said, "And this is how we go back to make something and stuff." And it was probably a smaller ball of yarn than this, just enough to play with for her, you know. And then we're sitting there, and I'm discussing with her and telling her how to go back and forth and this and that. And an older lady than me came down, and she said, "What you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm teaching her how to, you know, telling her how to crochet." And she goes, "Oh, I crochet." And the next thing I know, I clipped the yarn off that blanket, and I said, "Here you go." And I gave her another ball of yarn, and I gave her the hook that I was working with. And never in my life have I carried more than one hook. At that time, I only had one hook, because you know, being poor, I only had one or two hooks in my lifetime, but for some reason I had hooks. Now I have more hooks that I know what to do. I see I even have an extra one. And it's the wrong size for this yarn, if you know what I'm saying. This is an end hook, this is an H hook. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I handed her the extra hook and the yarn. And I got up and the guy says, "Ma'am, Miss Kathy, your car's done." And I'm like, oh, that's my husband back in the back. Say hi to him. Anyway, when I didn't realize he was back that far. I'm just now noticing. Anyway, the guy called me and said, "Miss Kathy, your car's done." And I'm like, okay. And my heart's going boom, 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 boom. Dear Lord, please don't let it be over $20. Please don't let it be over $20. Not even a penny over, Lord. I don't have but $20 to my name. And I got up there and he said, "Ma'am, $5. And I went, "What?" He goes, "I really appreciate what you did for my daughter." And I said, oh, I had no idea it was the owner's daughter. And he said, "And by the way, where can I get her those supplies?" And I said, "You can go to Kmart and buy them. You can get them. They have a little kit at Kmart, you know, that has the hooks, a book, needle, and, you know, the little, what do you call them? Notions. We call them notions nowadays, but it's the little, little pin, to hold your work and, and stuff like that. Your markers is what they're called. But I said, it comes with that set and stuff." He goes, "Oh, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much." And I mean, the devil jumped on my shoulder. He said, "You better lay that $5 down and run," and I said, "No, I can't do that." So I gave him the $5 and I was just happy as a lamb that the Lord, worked it out. And that's why I'm trying to tell you guys that when you're struggling, and there's a whole bunch of struggles, and it is close to Christmas. If you think, "Lord, I can't do that for somebody. I can't do this, and I need to give somebody this, and I need to do this." Make them something from scratch. If you're a good baker, bake them a batch of cookies and put it in a nice little tin. If you crochet, make them a washcloth. Make them something that is simple. We've got a week before Christmas. You know what your loved one wants more than anything. Maybe it's just a phone call. It doesn't have to take money to do something for somebody. And by the way, just to fasten up, I never finished off that blanket for my friend Randy. However, I did make him a different one. One was with more black than anything, and nowadays I don't like to use black because it's so hard to see the stitches sometimes because I'm getting older. But I made him the blanket, and I gave it to him. And it's been over 30 years. Okay, he's had this blanket, and he's met his wife, and he has 2 kids. In fact, his the kids are one's in college, one's graduating from high school this year. And over the summer, Randy's mom passed away, Miss Linda passed away. And I was like, oh no. So anyway, when I got to see her, I got to talk to him this summer. I said, "I'm so sorry." And I said, and the blanket came up. And I said, "Do you still have that blanket?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "You have it in your car?" He goes, "Oh no, my wife won't let me keep it in the car." He said, "She made me up some blue jean thing to keep in the car for that. But the kids fight over it." And I said, "All these years, and you've never told me your kids fight over your blanket?" And he goes, "Yeah." So you know what I did? And I was meeting them this summer. So I crocheted both his children their own blanket, Uncle George blanket. So his daughter has hers in college, and his son left his at home because he didn't want to get it ruined by the teenage boys, I guess, in the dorm that he's staying at for the schooling. So I whipped those up quick, and God blessed me to be able to get those out there to meet his kids and to be blessed. So a little act of kindness goes a long way, and God will provide for your needs. And know that I'm praying for you, and may you have a wonderful, merry, blessed Christmas. God bless, and I'll talk to you probably Thursday of next week, the day after Christmas. All right, God bless. Bye-bye.